Hello Stratters, welcome! This will be a video about a few deck ideas that I have that I thought it would be interesting to talk about. As you all know, or should know by now, there has been a few bans and unbans in Modern that will probably change the format somewhat. And at least now at the beginning I would expect to see a lot of Top the Foundries, Sword of the Meeks and Ancestral Vision running around. So when I saw the unbans, my gear started to turn right away, and I already had a good amount of deck ideas because I expected the cards to be unbanned. Not both at the same time, but you know. So I thought it would be fun to take a look at a few of them at their first stage, so to speak. They're not tuned, they're not tested obviously. They're just in their first stage, and there is a lot of room for tweaks and improvements, and depending on how the metagame actually turns out, some of the cards and actually one of the decks might be drastically altered. So anyway, the first deck that came to my mind, and most likely a lot of other people's mind too, is a Tesseract version. I'm not certain how many artifacts you want to run. Do you want the full play set of Darksteel Citadel? Do you want to have more good one-offs? So on and so forth. I mean, that's up to debate and up to the metagame to kind of decide. But I think a few cards are universal and will be in the deck no matter what. Some number of Top the Foundries and Sword of the Meeks will always be in the deck, I think. I tried out yesterday at my local game store a version of this deck with 2 Top the Foundries and 1 sword, because that's what my legacy version ran, and it felt like that was not enough. If you find Tesseract, either one, you will find the pieces pretty quickly, but compared to the legacy version that runs 4 Jace the Mind Sculptor and Transmute Artifact, it just takes too long to find the pieces. So even if I get control and get an opportunity to resolve the combo, it's just hard to find it. So I think at least 3 Top the Foundries and 2 swords will be a good number. The deck will probably always have 4 Tesseract Agent of Bolas because it's just that good. It's a good win condition, it's card advantage, it's everything that you want in this type of decks. I also think there will be a fair number of Thirst for Knowledge in the deck. But that's the only cards that I see being the main core. Then it's up to you. Do you want to fill it with, like I've done, 6 mana rocks, a couple of graveyard hosers, some one-offs in the Snaring Bridge, engineered explosives, ratchet bomb? You don't have to do that, but you still have to have a pretty high count of artifacts. I think this deck has like 20, 4, 5, 6, 9, 12, 13, 15, 18, 19, yeah, 20. So Tesseract should hit. You probably don't get multiple choices, but you should hit every time. So yeah, the deck basically, what you want to do is play a turn 2 rock and turn 3 Tesseract, and then resolve the combo and go off. I've elected to run a few hand disruption pieces, 6 of them Inquisition and Thoughtseize, because you do need to interact. Your combo is pretty slow and actually pretty vulnerable, so you have to protect it somehow. I'm also running 2 negates in this version. Mana leak just tends to be bad. I mean, it's good on turn 2 if you don't have anything else to do, and then it just drops in value. Negate handles everything that you're afraid of. You don't care about creatures. You have Ensnaring Bridge, you have Damnations, you have a few Dismembers, you have infinite number of chump blockers, and as time goes by you can actually trade. So you have Ratchet Bomb and you need explosives. You don't care about that. You care about non-creatures, and that's where Hand Disruption and Negate comes in. I also think it's wise to run one Tesseract the Seeker. It's a bit more expensive. It doesn't do really that much, but just being able to search up that clutch and snaring bridge or whatever it's fine. I think you want to run a few graveyard pieces to counter other Thop the Foundry decks. Nile Spellbomb being the best, I think, because you exile target player's graveyard and it's free to do so. You can also sack this to Thop the Foundry and draw a card, which is pretty good. Other than that, it's not that much else going on here. I'm running 22 lands here, 1 Academy Ruins, a few Darksteel Citadel. I think Urborg is mandatory, so that Darksteel Citadel actually gives mana. And then you can see I'm running a few green sources, 2 of them, together with 8 fetch lands. And that's because I think you absolutely have to have Abrupt Decay or Disenchant or Naturalize or whatever to attack Stony Silence, because that will be the most common card that you will face post board. So if you're facing white, you do have to have an answer to that. Otherwise, your only win condition will be Tesseract, and while good, it's kinda it's a kind of a weak plan, because if they kill him, you're screwed. So that's my thought on the deck. You could easily tweak this and doing it in several other ways. But I think this is at least a good start. So check it out. It's good. So I think this will be something that will be more common in modern. So let's go on to the next one. Where are you? I have not built sideboards for these decks because that's just not wise. What did I call you? No, there you are. Yeah, depending on how the metagame shapes up. I mean, maybe Thop the Foundry Sword of the Meek will be everywhere, but I don't think so. Because Modern is too hostile against such a combo. I think it will be good, but not broken. So this is an Esper Control variant. I think this will be good too, and this is also a deck that you can build in like 10 different ways and still have them very viable. You can build a gifts version, you can build like mystical teachings, you can build like I have, just being like control. And yeah, I think this is also one of the strengths of these type of decks, because your opponent won't know. If you have 4 mana up, is it a gift? Is it a Resto Angel? Is it a Cryptic Command? Is it nothing? It's just impossible for them to know. So that's kinda cool. Also, now you get access to Ancestral Vision. I still don't think the card is broken by any means, but being able to suspend this early and then protect yourself with discard spells, counter spells, removals, mass removal, and then draw more cards, that will just out resource your opponent so that you can land your combo and go off without a problem. I think you do need a few alternate win conditions. Relying on this solo is pretty stupid, so 2 Tassigers, 1 when dealing click is kind of the backup together with 3 manlands. I think given that you really want to do something on turn 1, having come into play tapped lands is not as good anymore. I mean, compared to the Jeskai decks, for example, you don't really care if you play a Celestial Colonnade on turn 1, because if they resolve something, that's fine. You can like lightning helix it or something a turn later, but this version is not capable of doing so. I think you want a few catch-all pieces. This could easily be the new one. I don't recall its name, and it's not on Magic Online yet, but I mean, just being able to snag up a Thop the Foundry or other pesky permanents that you don't like is something that you want to do. Tech Edge or Ghost Quarters will be mandatory as well if you want to beat something like Academy Runes in the long run. Not all decks have the luxury of running these, so if your deck can support it, I think you should play it. I think Spell Snare will be even better now. I mean, we already have super good targets in Goif, Dark Confidant, Young Pyromancer, opposing counter spells, Snapcasters, and now we will add Thopter Foundry and I guess Sword of the Meek, but you don't really want to counter Sword of the Meek. You could, but like in this deck it's legit to counter it because there is so few artifacts. You actually really need both pieces. But I mean that's something that we have to explore. I haven't built a sideboard for this deck at all, but I think a wise plan would be to do something like this. Remove this combo entirely and bring in like 4 Geist of Saint Draft, depending on what you're facing obviously, or Mentor of the Meek, and just go that route instead, because no one will keep removal in against you. That's just not a thing, and they will bring in Stony Silence and disenchant effects, and you will just be crushing them because they are sitting there with dead cards and you have good threats. So anyway, let's go over to the last deck, and the one that I think I'll personally going to run, but that's also highly meta dependent. But I would like to run a Grixis version, and the reasoning is that you get access to so many good cards against Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek, because you get Kolaghan's Command, and Kolaghan's Command is just fantastic. You kill their Thopter Foundry and make them discard something, or maybe they have a creature you want to kill, not likely, but you can also recover like a Snapcaster Mage, which I think is, I mean, this version runs like all the good blue cards like Ancestral, Snapcaster and so forth. So I think Kolaghan's Command is a really good card to be playing going forward in Modern. You also get access to Ancestral Vision, which is good because you can suspend it on turn 1 and not falling too far behind, because you have Lightning Bolts and Terminates and Hand Disruption to get you back, and then you draw more cards. And what you want is to draw a few lands so you can get up to your win conditions, but I've tried to spread them out as much as possible. So you have Lightning Bolts, Terminates, Kolaghan's Commands as removal. You could run like a Dismember, you could have a Murderous Cut, that's kinda up to you. We have 5 Hand Disruption spells together with 4 counter spells, 4 Snapcasters to rebuy them, so we have a lot of card value. Then I'm like, yeah, Redirect has always been a favorite card of mine. It's really good and unexpected, and against opposing Ancestral Vision it's just backbreaking. If they cast this on turn, what is it, like 5, they may have 4 mana open, and you play Redirect, it's like, yeah, maybe they have a mana leak. They could, but most likely they will have something like Cryptic Command instead, or nothing, and then you just get to take Ancestral Vision, and that's game. That's the same reason I'm running 2 Notion Thieves, because as I said, Ancestral Vision will be a thing, so resolving this in response is really good. So this is kind of like the anti-Ancestral Vision Thopter Sword of the Meek deck, but it still has good game against other decks. It's pretty good against creature decks. It's okay against like Storm and stuff, because it has a good amount of disruption. And then we have a few win conditions. We have Tassigurs, which will be pretty easy to cast. They won't be down turn 2, but they will be down eventually. Acheronos, that's just the best win condition you can have. It's so hard to remove, and yeah, it's just really good. We won't activate him, but that's fine. I think you should always run a Cruel Ultimatum when you're playing Grixis Control because the card is busted, but it's worse in this kind of metagame, but sometimes it will be really good. So, and you can get back like an Ocean Thief or a Keranos if it gets Thoughtseize or something. And drawing more cards and gaining life is pretty relevant. And 1 Nicol Bolas, because it's still Nicol Bolas, he's really good. So for the mana base, it's just lands as usual. 2 Tech Edges. I think we have room for a Desolate Lighthouse. I'm not certain, but that feels like a good card to have, so that you can discard redirects and dead hand disruption spells later on. I think it's worth it. It will be few matches when we start with like Tech Edge, Swamp, Desolate Lighthouse, but you know, I think we win more matches by having the lands than having just regular lands. I don't think you need 4 Kolaghan's Command in the main, but you could easily run that too. So there we have a few ideas, like shells that you can expand upon. Maybe Mana Leak is not the card we're looking for. Maybe 3 colors is not the right way. Maybe we should run 2 colors, like just blue-white control or blue-black control. Maybe we should run something completely different. I don't know. And that's the exciting part. So give me your thoughts. Leave a comment and let's discuss this further. I think there is I think this is one of the best things that have happened to Modern, and yes, I am a big fan of cards like Ancestral Vision, so take my opinion with a little grain of salt, but I have a hard time seeing this being broken. Drawing 3 cards for 1 mana is extremely good, yes, but waiting 4 turns is not that good, so you could easily be dead by the time you can do this. So let's see what you think. I could easily see more decks being viable. I mean, something like Bug could be really good. You get Abrupt Decay, you can play Ancestral Vision, you can play Goyf, and just be really solid against other Ancestral Vision decks. So I can see thousands of decks where this could be good. And all of my thoughts is going on Control. I don't think Ancestral Vision will change any combo decks. So there you have it. Leave a comment and I'll see you shortly for something else.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, it really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter at MagicGathStrat, Facebook /MagicGatheringStrat, or on the web, magicgatheringstrat.com. There you can find articles and free prize-supported leagues. This is all brought to you by our Patreons and cardhoarder.com. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/MagicGatheringStrat.